Hello, everybody. Thank you to How to Live a Fantastic Life, our podcast on the secrets that everybody needs to live a fantastic life. And today I've got a great person by the name of Kevin McDonald, who's creator of My Independence Report, which is a free-form podcast designed to help declare our freedom from hate, division, and fear. So, why do you have such an interesting name for your podcast, Kevin? And how did that come about?
Well, that's interesting. I was helping somebody put a podcast together several years ago, and we used her name and so forth, and then that didn't work out, and we separated ways. And I was sitting in my house going, I need a name. I need a really cool name. I need something that resonates with me, that I can then put a tagline together that can resonate with the audience. And my son says, well, why not something like, I don't know, My Independence Report? And I thought about it, and I said, where'd you come up with that? And he said, I just thought of it. And so My Independence is all about declaring our freedom from hate, division, and fear, and getting rid of the bad stuff so that we can have the good stuff, so that everybody can live together as one and be happy. So it all just magically came together because my son was sitting on the couch next to me.
So that's great. And how old is your son now?
He's 32.
So he came up with a great name for you. Now, this is not referring to Independence Day, which was just a few days ago. You'd sooner have Independence Day every day. Is that not right?
Exactly. I honestly believe that if we declare our independence from all the negativity and the hate and the bad stuff in the world, we can move forward together. But we have to do it together.
Isn't that great? And I think that togetherness is one of the things we're lacking in this day and age. Everybody thinks independence is about them being independent, whereas we really are codependent on everybody. Is that not right?
That is absolutely correct. If we cannot do it by ourselves, and we cannot do it without working together as one for all of us to get together. It's interesting. The name came about during the time of I don't know if you've heard of it. We had a president at one time. His name was his name was Donald Trump, and it was a time of negativity, and everybody was fighting and stuff. And so I really feel like we need to change the dynamic. That's why I had you on my podcast, because you're actively working to change that dynamic yourself.
Yeah, and I think the dynamic needs to be changed. But, the seeds are there to change it. And it's very much a reality. When I was on your show, I challenged your listeners to do something for their fellow man today. Do something that they would not regularly do. And that's an open challenge that should be met every day. Everybody should try and do something that they wouldn't regularly do for their fellow man. And that will make the world a better place. And it's a small step, a very small step, to make the world a little bit better.
I couldn't agree more. Before I was doing this, while I was still in the working world, I was a Metro bus driver for King County Metro here in Seattle. And, of course, we have 1,200 buses on the road at all the times. And we had lots of people coming on the bus and stuff. I made it my mission to say hello to everyone who got on my bus. And 20% of the people responded. 80% just thought it was weird. But the whole idea is you can change somebody's whole day by just being pleasant and saying hello.
Exactly. It's a small step. Now, why do you do the Independence Report, Kevin? What was the reasoning behind getting you to do that report? And I'm going to pick your brain a little bit.
Okay. Well, my backstory is about in 2002, 2003, I decided that I wanted to do something different, and I had a bit of a midlife crisis, you might say, and I had been years ago, I'd been in broadcasting and stuff, and I really wanted to provide a message, a positive message to to people everywhere. And so I bought some time on a radio station, and it was called, that radio station is KKNW 1150 AM in Seattle. And I bought some time there, and I put up a program that came to be called Positive Talk Radio. And we had positive guests, we had spiritual people, we had musicians, we had positive people, coaches, all kinds, and people started coming and flocking to it because everybody wanted something, because in those days, that was during the Iraq War. And so everybody was concerned about the Iraq War, and there's a lot of negativity and stuff. So I put together a real positive program. Unfortunately, because I paid for it and I couldn't sell enough advertising for it, I had to close it down after about 10 months. I was doing 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I just loved it. Loved everything about it. And just like I loved doing this and talking to you, I loved everything about it. So I had to give that up. I went through several years of a lot of personal turmoil, and I lost my wife, I lost my house, I lost my dog, I lost my dad, and all that kind of stuff. And then I was
sounds like a country and western song.
And that's my tagline. It's a bad country western music song. It's like my dad died, my dog died. I had to declare bankruptcy. I got into a major accident. My wife left. I lost my house. It was a bit of a disaster, but I came out of it, and because of what I had been doing on the radio, a friend of mine said, you should go work for King County Metro as a bus driver. So I did that, and it turned out that the pay was good, the benefits were good, and I did that for 11 years. And then I got hurt and came back to this. But in the meantime, the technology had changed, and COVID had something to do with that. The technology had changed to the fact where I could do this, and I could put out a positive message without putting out, I was paying $1,800 a week to do that show. And I had to recover it in advertising, but I couldn't get that done. And so I can do this without it costing me or anybody else a tremendous amount of money. And I can put out the message, which is be positive, care for each other, love each other, be kind, and we can all get together and we can all figure this thing out. And so those are the types of people that I populate my show with. And it really uplifts me a great deal. It really does.
Well, that's cool, because I think, right now in this post-COVID world, I think one of the things we're missing is kindness. I see a lot of anger out there. I see a lot of people not knowing what to do. I see a lot of people without direction. I see people that are sort of dazed by it all, and others that are angry. I mean, the amount of anger that's going on is, I think, at astronomical proportions. It's really at a level that is not sustainable. And it's not sustainable with the life that we want it to be. So I think people have to take a step back and chill. I think they need to really not get so upset and get into themselves so much. I think it's a time to really listen to an inner voice that's better and more peaceful.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And the thing that bothers me the most is we are blaming other people for things that is in our control to change. But we're not willing to take that step to make those changes, to make the choices that we can make to make a difference in our own lives. So we're blaming other people for the fact that we can't get anything done, or that we don't have enough money, or that, whatever it is, rather than taking personal responsibility and making sure that it happens.
Well, I think two words to that. One is don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. Right. And secondly is everything is your responsibility. Everything, not a little bit, not this. I mean, if you lost a job, that's still your responsibility to find another one. If you get up and are angry every day, change it, because really that's the type of world you're going to see. If everything's black and gloomy, you're going to see a black and gloomy world. If you look outside and see the sunshine, it's going to be a beautiful, wonderful place. And I think it's everybody's responsibility to really get on with that. I think it's everybody's responsibility to seize the day and make the day what it is and what it's going to be. I think it was Mahatma Gandhi said that if you're a street sweeper, be the best street sweeper in the world. If you're a bus driver, be the best bus driver in the world. Why not? Be a person that is pleasant, kind. Road rage is a very big thing. And I think buses are something that people take angst with and anger with because they're taking up a big space and they're in your space. Come on, a bus driver is just doing what he's supposed to do, deliver people from place to place. And yes, he does his job, but my goodness, don't take it up on him. Wouldn't it be radical if somebody let you into traffic when you're a bus driver instead of having to fight your way into traffic? Wouldn't it be radical if somebody actually gave you a little bit of a wave every now and then and rolled down their window and said, I hope you're having a fantastic day. I bet you're doing a great job. Wouldn't that be a radical thing to do? It's crazy how we really are into ourselves and forget about the little things that make it happen.
That is so true. I can't say that. I had the one finger salute probably in 11 years, probably a dozen times maybe. But those are just people, they're having a bad day, or I was intruding upon their space as I was trying to negotiate the freeway or whatever. And so, I just would laugh at them basically, because there's no point in getting angry with somebody who's already angry at you. It just makes your day worse.
That's true. I think that's really what it's all about. Everything you do is a reflection of yourself. So if you're going to be doing things like that, it's going to reflect on you more than on the other person. And I think people have to realize that. I think it's really behooves people to be better that way. And we're still into a pandemic, and I really don't know when we're going to get out of it, or really if we're going to get out of it. I think this is a new coexistence that we have. And as soon as we solve one problem, this virus is smart and it takes on another perplexing thing. I'm really mortified to see how many people are not vaccinated yet, and how many people are not going to be vaccinated. Really, vaccines this go around are safe, they're effective, and they are the solution for this problem. And really, people have to jump on them. Science has given us an amazing, in 18 months, they've come up with something that is really going to help and change the face of the world. And, it takes a little jab of a needle. Whoopee. In the big scope of things, how amazing that is, how really amazing that is, and how amazing that we've come to that in such a short period of time. And we've come out with a whole set of new technology that might even fight cancer, might even fight Parkinson's disease, might fight other things that we have a hard difficulty treating right now. So it's amazing what we've come out with these mRNA viruses and stuff like that really can help people. So I think we got to be thankful for this, and we got to be thankful that this has gone on. And we also have to be thankful for the fact that we are forced to stay home and develop technology like the Zoom technology, where we can really communicate around the world really effortlessly and really with great results and great gusto.
Oh, absolutely. I get the biggest kick out of the fact that I can get on to Zoom and I can talk to a singer-songwriter in Sweden. And there's a time difference, and it was 11 o'clock her time and 9 o'clock my time in the morning. But we could talk and we could play her music and stuff. So I can really, and you as well as a podcaster, we can have a global reach. I've been downloaded in all 50 states and 65 countries around the world. It is phenomenal.
And that's the beautiful thing about this. And It's only going to get better in the communication world, not worse. It's going to get better that we are going to be even have better technology and better means of doing this. And that's phenomenal.
It really is, and it's freeing. I love the freedom that, some of us talk about freedom as something that they're being denied, but there's a lot of freedom that we have, and the folks that are not taking the vaccine, I don't know what to tell them, other than you're putting yourself, you're putting your family, and other folks at risk for something that isn't true. That the conspiracy theories and all of that, they're just not true, and you're putting your family at risk, and they don't get it.
Well, that's the thing, maybe a younger person won't get seriously ill with this virus, but certainly there are people in society that are going to get seriously ill, and that's not fair to the rest of society. That's not fair to others going on there. And let's suppose you're in the 3% group that gets seriously ill. Your health bills being put on others are not fair either. And it's not fair as a burden on society. So really, you're being offered something that's cheap, effective, and readily available. Spend a couple of minutes, get it done. It's not a big thing. Really, it's not a big thing. And when I look at the history of the world, one of the biggest breakthroughs we've ever had are vaccinations. It frees us from smallpox. It frees us from measles. It frees us from mumps. It frees us from rubella, some of the biggest devastating diseases we ever had. So really, as a bang for the dollar, the immunization world has been one of the best.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Modern science has moved forward. It's like in the United States, polio was eliminated, but it still is out there in the world because not everybody has been vaccinated for polio yet. Am I correct in that?
I'm a Rotarian, and Rotary clubs around the world have been trying to wipe polio off the face of the earth. And Rotaries actually have been very instrumental in making polio less and less and less. And there's about 3 countries in the world where it's still prevalent. And so it still needs to be wiped out a little bit more, but we're getting there. And I suspect that now that COVID is down, we'll be able to advance this a little bit more than we were able to, because I think it's very important to wipe that scourge off the face of the earth.
I agree. One step at a time. One thing that we can get rid of.
So what does the future hold for you, Kevin?
Well, I hope to be around to be at least a few more years, but the future holds for me is that my master plan, my ultimate goal is to take my independence report or some derivative of and make it a national phenomenon to help people live lives in a positive manner, help each other, be kind to each other. There's a segment of our population that just doesn't get it, doesn't want to be that way, but there are a lot of folks that I've talked to that are really interested in taking what is inherent in all of us, which is that we care for each other, and we're part of a bigger collective, and we needed. And so my mission, my goal is to take this and make it as big as I can, not so that I can make a lot of money. That I don't need to make any more money than I've got. What I want to be able to do is to make it so that people can listen to it. I had somebody that was listening the other day said, "You got to stop having such good guests on because I'm not getting anything done." Because people are listening to it, and that just makes my heart warm. Because, as you know, the coolest thing about this medium is that you and I can sit here and talk, and we're gonna talk, and somebody's gonna be listening, and we are gonna have the opportunity to change that person's life, or better said, to get them to change their own life. And we'll never know who that is. We'll never know what our impact is. And that's okay, because we have the opportunity and the ability to positively impact the planet. That's my goal.
I say if I'm only able to affect one person, If I'm only, my goal has been reached, if I'm able to just make a little difference in one person's life, my goal has been reached. And so that's why I persist with this media and persist with these shows. I'm 65, I've retired. Now, God willing, I may be here when I'm 80 or 90 or 100, but who knows how long that's going to be, and who knows when the Grim Reaper is going to be reaching down my door, and that's fine. As long as I can keep doing this. And the thing is, every show I make, it's going to live forever on the World Wide Web. It's going to live forever and percolate forever. So every little show is going to be another little bit that's going to be out there for people to change, and people hopefully to change for the better. I'm mortified when I read the news every day and see how much angst is out there, and how much hate is out there, and how much stuff is out there that really doesn't need to be. I think the world is all dependent on you. It's all dependent on what you do. So if you make a world that's angry and mad, well, that's your doing, that's your doing, so please think about what you do in the small things, because the little things add up to make a difference.
Absolutely. If I can tell just a quick story.
Sure.
When I was doing Positive Talk Radio, and I had to terminate the program because I owed them some money and I didn't have any money to pay them, and so they take a dim view of that when you have that conversation with them. And so he said, well, you can do one more show. So I said, all right, I'll do one more show, and I announced that I was going off the air, and the phone lines filled up, and people started calling and were genuinely distressed that we were going off the air. And one gal called, and this touched my heart to a degree that taught me that I knew I had to come back and do this. And gal called me, and she was from Bainbridge Island, and she said, Kevin, I can't believe that you're going off the air. And I said, well, and I explained it, and then she said, well, here's our story. I'm an Alzheimer's caregiver for this gal who's sitting right here. Her name is Alice. Alice doesn't listen to anything other than your program. She loves you. You make her laugh. She loves it when you laugh. And we are it's gonna leave a huge hole in her heart when you go off the air. And it was like, I never met this person. I have no idea who this is. But it taught me that we have the ability as a human being to positively affect people around the world that we'll never meet. And that drives me.
Cool. Well, Kevin, how can people get in touch with you if they'd like to?
Well, if you're a positive person and you'd like to be on my program, you can do that by just going to myindependencereport.com, and you can contact me that way. You can also email me at myindependencereport@gmail.com.
Cool. And that's what I'd like people to do. Stay well, everybody. Have a fantastic day. And if you need a professional speaker for you or your group, please get in touch with me, because I'd love to give a speech for your little group in your neighborhood. And we can all do that virtually right now. So wherever you are around the world, get in touch with me. I'm Dr. Alan Lycka. That's a DRALLEN, Lycka, LYCKA.com. Looking forward to hearing from you. Bye for now.